Hello, welcome,
Hello,
welcome,
everybody.
welcome. Hey!
Ooh,
So today,
how? Sorry,
go
go, go,
ahead.
go, go. I'm just looking. I'm sweating. I'm
Ah,
really selfish.
ah.
Sorry,
So
go
this
on.
is just in case you stumbled upon us here. This is Women Unleashed. This is season 4, episode 11 of Women Unleashed. I
You're
am.
beginning to remember the episode numbers. That's funny because that's the
When
challenge
it
we
comes to
always
the
have.
end, it's easy. Like in
Yeah.
the middle, like the first 4 is easy, and then it gets jumbled, and then the last 3, you know.
Okay, there's only two left. There's only one left. Great.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm a beginning and an ender. The middle kind of gets a little soupy for me. So, um, so I'm your co-host Alicia Couri here, the Red Carpet CEO, and with me is, of course,
Szebastian Onne, and I'm the almost naked CEO who's always fully dressed, but only top up. No, I'm joking. And by the way, I do want to say, because we're not on Facebook right now, so if you're watching, I can see a lot of people are watching on YouTube. So wherever you're watching, tell your friends if they're on Facebook hunting for us. No, we are on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and Twitter. Come and watch us there, and let's get connected. So, and this is Women Unleashed. Women Unleashed on Dreamaniac
Women
TV.
Unleashed. We're about to get unleashed with another amazing woman who has a very powerful message. And she is vibrant and she is spunky and she is a whole lot of fun, but she has a very serious message. So don't get lost in all the fun we're
Absolutely.
going to have. Pay attention because this could save your life.
Absolutely. And what I love about her is that, despite what she's gone through, she is such a fun personality, so bubbly, and, just really gets on with any age and any person. And it's just, her energy is amazing. So why don't we talk a
Yeah.
little bit about about our guest?
Sure. So Bev Pohlit came to us by another great friend of Dreamaniac,
Stacey
Stacy.
Simpson! Thank
Stacy
you.
Simpson. So we're giving Stacy a shout out. So Beth, this is Beth's story. I'm gonna just give you a little tease of Beth's story. So no one expected me, Bev Pohlit, an active wife, mother, and grandmother who bikes and hiked 50 miles a week, eats organic, would have a heart attack. April arrived and I was excited to go to my first spring bike ride when suddenly I noticed something was wrong and not in a good way. Mother's Day followed in a few weeks later with my family on a fishing outing. And on the way back, it felt as if there was an earthquake, but there wasn't, as it was a horrible dizzy spell. A sign I ignored for 3 weeks until 2 days after my birthday. I had the feeling of what seemed like acid reflux getting worse every day. But I'm a woman, so I chose to try to fight through it, which almost cost me the life I love with a 95% blockage of my right coronary artery. Back to hiking and biking, I began using social media and my voice to spread awareness of the number one killer of men and women above all cancers combined, heart disease. I am a
Yeah.
co-founder and a women's heart support group, and I promote the American Heart Association by using and promoting their line of clothing and accessories, which also creates discussion with others about heart disease. Most importantly, I am alive and I have so much more to do in hopes of working with medical professionals about heart disease and awareness. And tonight she's with us, spreading her message of awareness. And we'd love to welcome to the show Miss Bev Pohlit.
Yay, hi.
Bubbly Bev.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I have to stop shouting into the mic. The microphone is right here. I get so excited. I like
Hey, you're the opera of Women Unleashed, okay? So it's all good.
I get,
And I'll be Ellen DeGeneres and I'll dance.
yeah, okay. So Bev, tell us, because we're gonna go back first before we get to this I am woman, hear me roar, I don't need a doctor thing. that we talked about, because I can relate, lady. I can relate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your childhood growing up. You know, where did you get this like eating healthy, living healthy? Where did that come from for you?
Well, I'm a farmer's daughter. My mother was born and raised on a farm. So from my mother, we always had an organic garden. We always had grass-fed meats. Everything was healthy. We didn't have anything that was unhealthy. But I didn't realize at the time that as I grew older, my mother had 9 other siblings. So she was one of 10. And
Wow.
out of 5 brothers, 3 of them died of heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
So I looked at that as men. Then my grandfather on my father's side also had heart attack. And my father had heart disease. Oh, and I have to go back.
So you were surrounded. You were surrounded by men in your family that had either heart attacks or heart disease.
Right,
So,
exactly.
So as a child, what did that kind of?
I didn't know any women that had a heart attack. I didn't know that women could have a heart attack. I thought it was a man's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever talked to me about that any different. So I figured, okay, well, that's happening to the men, but that's not going to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out. Yes.
Eating healthy, and it's almost like breast cancer. They think that's a woman's disease, but men get breast cancer too.
Exactly.
Like heart attack is a man's disease. Women don't get that. Wow.
Exactly. And that's just it. It's like a lot of women. And the hardest part with women is that we ignore. So if the men around us are having heart attacks, a lot of times when women present, we ignore our signs. And ignoring our signs, what happens a lot of times is you die. You don't get a second chance.
Mm.
And that's where it's very difficult because women are the cornerstone of the home. We take care of the children, we take care of everybody. And in doing so, we pass off whatever is happening to us. So in seeing that my grandfather on my mother's side, plus 3 of her brothers, died of heart disease, I right away just thought, that's a man's disease.
That's for the guys in this family. That's the curse of the men in this family. So being on a farm, clearly you walked a lot, you rode a lot, you were very active. So that's why you have such an active life. I mean, 50 miles a week, girl? What is that?
I haven't done 50 miles a week in my entire life. And I think I'm very active, but 50
I don't think I do
week,
50 miles in a month.
That was up until like actually 6 months prior to my heart attack. Now what I do is I get up every morning before work and I do a half an hour on the treadmill, and then I walk from anywhere from a half an hour to 45 minutes on my lunch hour. And it doesn't matter the weather. I do it.
You do it.
You just got to do it.
Gotta get up and do it.
Yeah. Totally off topic, but I'm just going to ask you, how the heck do you do treadmill every day? Because I hate 5 minutes of treadmill.
Okay.
I literally do.
Dedication. I get up.
Saving your life.
Yeah.
You look at your life or a treadmill.
When you're faced with losing your life and your cardiologist comes into your intensive care room and he says, now you know what it feels like to have a heart attack. And you look at him and he says, those were his first words. And then after that, he said, how are you doing? And I said, I feel fabulous. I didn't realize how good I could feel because I actually just thought I was getting old. And I'm thinking, how could I be getting old at this age? I just, I was exhausted all the time. I was very, very extremely fatigued. And I was talking to my doctor about this. Unfortunately, you know, it was tossed to the side. But yet now, hindsight after it had happened, I know now those were my signs that my heart was getting blocked.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, we're going to talk about all those signs. But when you, especially number one, you think this is a man's disease, and then you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're doing all the right things that you need to do. So is this something that was hereditary, that was something in your family, the high cholesterol, that kind of stuff?
I actually was genetically tested after my heart attack because I was having problems. I was diagnosed in my 20s with high cholesterol. They gave me a pamphlet and pretty much sent me home, and that was the last I heard of it. But everything that they was listed on there not to do, I didn't do it. I was doing good. Don't get me wrong, when our children were younger, yes, we ran through the fast food every once in a while. But other than that, I really didn't feel we had good, healthy food to eat. So it wasn't until uncontrollable cholesterol that they genetically tested me, and I was found to have hypercholesterol. Gosh, I can't even pronounce it right now. HP, which is a genetic marker that I inherited from my parents, which I could eat grass like a bunny, and I would still have severely high cholesterol.
Really, yeah, dangerously.
And that's what makes me wonder, actually, when you said in your 20s you were sort of given a red signal. So did that actually strike you like, how come I have when everybody else, it's just men? And did you think about that, or you didn't care too much?
That I had high cholesterol at 20 years of age? I just, to be honest with you, I didn't understand it. And the doctors didn't bother to explain it. And being a mother of 2 young sons, I was extremely active besides running after our sons. And we lived, our property bordered, we lived in the woods, and our property bordered the state game land. So we used to hike all the time in the woods. We would take our 2 golden retrievers and hike and go throughout the woods. And then on the weekends, we used to bike like 18 miles in a day.
Yeah.
And, other than that, we
so you kind of thought like, I'm doing all the right things, and I'm living the right life, and
lifestyle. And
I just want to very quickly say, I can see a whole lot of people are tuned in right now. Guys, we're on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope. So feel free to comment, feel free to share your messages. We'd love to hear your stories. If you have one, if you know Bev and you're watching, please let her know. I actually see a comment right now. So Beth Green says, having a heart attack myself has changed my life. Wow. It does. It does change your life, because I personally know it changes. First of all, I think the first thing is when you get the first heart attack, you just, my assumption was that's a strange pain. Again, too young for it, too fit. I go to gym 7 times a week, so made no sense, but that's it. You just don't know. So, before we go into anything else, I just want to, so when this happened, do you sort of feel like you saw signs that you could have avoided?
Yes.
But after the fact.
But after the fact.
So before you answer that, let's go ahead and transition to our next segment, since you did such a great job of talking about everybody watching and commenting. You are watching Women Unleashed here on Dreamaniac TV. So those of you who are here on YouTube, don't forget to comment and let us know what your experience is. If you've never had an experience, if you just want to say hi, come on, just say hi. But we're talking to Bev Pohlit, who, despite living a very healthy lifestyle, was predisposed to heart disease and didn't even realize it. And so she is here sharing her message to hopefully save a life. You know, so we're here just sharing. We went to her background. We talked about the farmer's daughter, growing up in a farm. And now we want to talk in segment 2. We're going to let you answer that question about, you know, that you were young and you were healthy and doing all the right things. Were there signs that you missed that in hindsight now that you knew you should have paid more attention to?
Actually, 1 year prior to my heart attack, I had what was called the calcium score test done. And this was a test that it's like a CT scan of your heart. And what it does is when they put the iodine in, if you have hard plaque, the hard plaque flows like bone.
Mm-hmm,
so
right.
I had this done 1 year prior to my heart attack. Prior to that, and before I give you that result, I had it done 5 years earlier. My results of that were 0. So that meant I had no hardened plaque.
No plaque, right.
No hardened plaque. It can only show hardened plaque, not skin.
Okay.
So then when I had it done the year before my heart attack, it showed 9%. And at that time, my doctor said, well, you know, it's really increased. I actually thought that that meant 9% of 100, not realizing what
because percent is out of 100. Right?
Yeah, and I didn't know what 9% means. And truthfully, that was a wake-up call there. But 6 months after I had that test done, I had to have a minor surgical procedure done, and I started feeling very fatigued. And as soon as I got the okay, I was back on my treadmill again. It was like, yes, and I felt great. There were no problems at that time. And then about 6 weeks later, all of a sudden, I started feeling extremely fatigued again. And emails back and forth to my PCP and expressing to her, and she goes, well, it could be this, it could be that. There was multiple things, and that was in March. And my heart attack was actually June the 5th. And I just kept going downhill to the point that I thought I was getting old.
Right.
And I didn't realize that something was seriously wrong with me. It was an aging, and I'm like, okay, so this is what it's like to age. And
your oxygen levels were lower, because I know when Stacy was here, she was talking about that her heart was only functioning at, what was it, 13%?
No, I didn't feel any difference in my oxygen levels at all. Actually, my oxygen was fine. It was just that I would get up and do something, and shortly afterwards, I would need to lay down because I was exhausted. My body was fatigued. So I would have to lay down on the couch for about half an hour before I could get back up and do 10 more minutes of any kind of activity.
So I have a couple questions that I want to ask. So I'm trying to make sure I ask the right question at the right time. Because in this segment, we're actually talking about, you know, how, I mean, I talked about it in your intro, but how did this manifest for you? So walk me through the 3 weeks prior to you finding out that you had 95% blockage of your artery.
I'm going to go back a little bit before that. In our first, I call it our maiden bike ride of the season, which was in April. It was the second week of April. And it's nothing for us to jump on the bike and ride 18 miles. I went about 3 miles, and my heart was pounding. And I had to turn around and go back to our vehicle. And then on Mother's Day, a couple of weeks later, our oldest son and my husband and I, we went fishing to do something fun and different.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great day. It was beautiful, sunny. And on the way back, all of a sudden I was carrying some of the fishing equipment and walking up a hill, and I felt like there was an earthquake. Everything was just like moving. But it was Mother's Day, and I didn't want to ruin the day. I didn't tell them. I promised myself that I would go to the doctors. But because of my job and because of how demanding it was, I chose to put it off for another, well, until I didn't have a choice.
Right.
And then 3 weeks later, we had gone out to celebrate my birthday with some friends and our sons. And that Sunday, that was a Saturday, and Sunday night, I wasn't feeling well. And I just blew it off to the food we had eaten, the rich food, food we had eaten the day before. And the next day, I was going to call the doctor. And I put it off every day. And every day it got worse and worse and worse until Thursday night hit. And I could no longer lay down. And I told my husband, I said, I'm going to go up to bed. And I had the feeling of acid reflux for 5 days, not knowing that I was actually having the beginning of a heart attack for 5 days. But I was lucky because he came up to bed and my poor husband got woken by a slam across his chest with my hand saying, oh my God, I feel like I have uric acid in my chest. And I feel
like burning, just like burning coming up. Burning.
It wasn't.
I want people to understand what it felt like.
That's the thing about women's heart attacks is they're all different. In my case, I just had a burning sensation right here in my chest. And when I got up, I always laugh because being my mother's daughter, I had to brush my teeth and change my clothes.
You have to put on some lipstick, girl.
Exactly. Wash it up and get the deodorant on.
And that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. Women, women are nurturers. Women are they tolerate a lot. They go through a lot. And I think that's one thing I want to highlight here from the conversation, that if you feel something is wrong, you got to speak up. I know women don't want to bother others and want to nurture others, but I think the real message is, doesn't matter how much you care for everybody else. When you see a sign, you need to say something is wrong with me.
Well, the thing is, I have so many friends that this could be their story, Bev, because I have so many friends that suffer in silence or suffer maybe not in silence. They complain about it, but they don't do anything about it because they take care of the family. There might be a single mom and they need me. I can't. So it's really hearing your story. I'm like, yeah, they just put it off or just
exactly. And that's exactly
we minimize it. It's no big deal. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. It'll be over.
We're the caretakers, and in being the caretakers, we ignore ourselves. But what happens is when I actually had my heart attack, at that time, according to the American Heart Association in the United States, 75% of women were dying at the first onset of a heart attack.
Wow.
Since the Go Red for Women campaign, and since we're going out there and using our voices, that has reduced tremendously.
Yeah, because they're telling them you cannot ignore it.
You cannot ignore signs.
You don't have the same symptoms as men.
Well, it was really something because when this happened to me, and my husband, I'm Dr. Mom. I thought I could diagnose and take care of everybody. Of course,
BevMD.
Yeah, Mom.
BevMD.com. Well, there you go. Well, speaking of BevMD.com, I've got some fans of Bev waiting. So I'm just going to quickly put some comments up. So, Gimagination, which is Stacy. Says, hello, beautiful people. And High Tech Mother just woke up and she goes, it's very hard for family to see someone have a heart attack it shook me, and I know who she's talking about. So yeah, it is
I understand.
for family. It is because they don't know what to do. They
No, they
really
don't.
don't understand. And Sanjit says, "Wow, Bev, that must have been shocking and heartbreaking." Literally
Yeah.
in imagination / Stacy. So we're doing a little plug. Congratulations on all you do for the community, Bev, and thank you for being brave and sharing sharing your story. She says sharing, not staring. Well, we do need some humor, don't we? And Beth says the worst pain ever was a heart attack. We are heart sisters, and we will talk about that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you had your sons tested?
My oldest son has been tested. My youngest son deals with his own PCP in his care. Both my husband and I are heart patients, so they know that they have the predisposition of heart disease in their genes, possibly. And so we do talk about it. And especially my oldest one, him and his wife are their parents. And our youngest one and his wife are expecting their first child any day.
Congratulations!
Thank you. We're very proud of them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Is there anything, because you had that test done, you found out you have this high cholesterol that is genetic. Is there anything that can be done to lower that cholesterol?
Yes. I actually do injections. There are two different drugs out there. The PCSK9 is out there. It's an injection you can do every 2 weeks. And I might have actually given those letters incorrectly, but I do that every 2 weeks. And my numbers went from very high to absolutely perfect. And now that doesn't mean that I can eat anything that I want. You still have to live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
But yes, you definitely have to, you have to eat healthy. Yes, there is help out there. And of course there's statins, but you really have to start with a good healthy diet. Right.
Now, we're not medical professionals. We're not diagnosing or telling you what to do or how to do it. We're just giving information here.
Your doctor, and
go to your own doctor. Absolutely.
That is actually very important because, as you said, Bev, as you said, for women, and I actually know this from personal life of so many women around being affected, that symptoms and even in the moment, it's just so different for so many women, depending on their body types, shape and lifestyle so much. So, go and see a doctor if you see any sign. If you just feel even discomfort, just go and get checked. There's no harm in getting checked.
I was really struck by the fatigue. You talked about fatigue. As we age, as women get older, your hormones could be messing up, and that could cause fatigue. Sanjit says, Bev, we want wonderful people like you to live very long. Yeah.
You're gonna get me emotional.
There's a multitude of things that can cause you to feel fatigue when you feel like you shouldn't be feeling fatigued. I'm healthy, I'm active. Why am I suddenly feeling tired? So that is the time when you start sensing those changes to go to a doctor and start talking about what's happening in your lifestyle, happening with your changes, happening with your hormones. I mean, just the other day I saw on the news, and this is off topic, that a reporter was giving a story, and a viewer wrote in to her and said that she needs to go check out her thyroid because that mass on her neck. And she's like, I don't have a mass, but there was like some swelling on her neck, and said that it looks like thyroid cancer. And she went and she checked thyroid cancer. So, you just never know what it could be. So go check it out, and don't just think
don't self-diagnose, don't self-diagnose and try to fix things.
Don't go on Google.
Yeah, I actually want to say, and Bev and I were actually having this conversation yesterday. I posted something about cancer, and Bev said something very beautiful. You know, it is true that we focus a lot on cancer. I'm not comparing the two, but women and in general, we don't so much talk about heart attack. It's just taken for granted for some reason. I don't know why, but it's kind of taken for granted. And I'm kind of thankful, Bev, that yesterday when you brought that up, even though I was doing for a different purpose, it did make me think that it's true. We don't talk about heart attack enough. It's just like we treat it like, oh yeah, it happens, right? But the fact is, it happens a lot.
The one
It's
important
not
thing is a lot of people do not realize how many babies are born with heart defects. So many people
right.
don't realize that heart disease is not an old person's disease. That I have friends that are in their 20s that have not just had one heart transplant, but they've had two heart transplants. It's not an old person's disease.
No.
It happens throughout every age. And I know from the teens the whole way up, they have, there's heart disease there.
There's heart disease, yeah, because there are kids who die on the field playing sports, not realizing they have a heart challenge. Joanna had a comment, and then we'll take a quick break. What was Joanna's? Joanna says, Bev is a great example to be followed. What she does to help others is amazing. Share such important information may save lives, many lives. Absolutely, Joanna. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a quick break.
Yep, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
So we are back. This is Women Unleashed.
Hello, technology. Hang on. Sorry, I'm trying to figure things out.
Okay.
I'm like, that's the wrong place on the camera.
Season 4, episode 11. And our special guest, I am Alicia Couri, your co-host with
Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO. And if we can never figure out the directions, forget trying. And with us is Bev Pohlit. She is an incredible human being. And I want to actually say, everybody who's tuned in right now, I know you guys either know me or Alicia or Bev. Please tell us where you're tuning in from. Please tell us what your story is, because the message Bev is sharing today is so important. We take heart disease for granted, and it's time to speak out. And speaking of which,
in women, very, very hush hush, and I don't know why. It's the #1 killer of women.
Right.
And most of them, like you said, Bev, die with their first incident. And you were fortunate enough and blessed enough to survive 3 weeks having your episode.
I mean, that's, to me, 3 weeks itself sounds scary. It sounds very scary. And the bigger thing is what you just mentioned, Bev, is we don't take it seriously when it's a fact. Children have heart disease. Like we don't even notice that. And to be very honest, and I will agree that I think I've been ignorant enough until this moment to not see it as serious as it is. That we know. I personally know stories of children being affected, but we've never taken it so seriously. So this changes my perspective entirely.
I want to first of all give a shout out to Joanna, who messaged last from Brazil. Hi, Joanna. Thank you so much. And Beth, love you too. She's from the United States. She's actually from Pennsylvania. Thank you so much, Beth. I love you so much. Tanjit, you are just awesome. And of course, my
Imagination 305 in the house.
from Miami.
Miami in the house.
Hey, Stacy, you can send me the check for the plug. Not kidding.
So, I wanted to really highlight the fact that before we went on air, you said that women when they go to the gynecologist. Talk to me about that, because should be something that is focused on as well, not just breast cancer and cervical cancer. When they go to the gynecologist for your annual checkups, what did the gynecologist tell you about heart disease?
So, right, 2 months after I had had my heart attack, I had gone in for my yearly exam, and she came into the room, and I said, I don't know if you know, but I had a heart attack. She said, yes, it's in your records. And I said, you never talked to me about heart disease. I said, you've always given me breast exams, but you've never given me you've never talked to me about heart disease. And I said, you know, because of you, I checked my breast every single month, and I made sure that I was okay. I said, you were my number one go-to for women's heart, or for women's health. And I said, you never gave me that time. And she said, well, when I examine women's breasts, it's probably the only examination they get in a whole year. And when I talk to them about it, it's like they stare at me like a deer in headlights. And I said, so that's your excuse to not to tell me about the number one killer of women? And
I'm glad you actually.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm glad that you're actually sharing that, because the thing is that is, it's disappointing, it's shocking, and it's actually in a way heartbreaking, because that's the person you trust to save your life. That's the person you trust to care for you. And that's the person who knows and sees things that they can alert you. And in a way, they kind of failed you.
Right.
Yeah.
She did. And that's what I pretty much told her. And she actually retired a few months later, so I never seen her after that.
Yeah.
But she decided to run my cholesterol levels after that appointment and had her nurse tell me that my cholesterol was still high, which I knew as I was working with my cardiologist to try to figure out why.
I think they probably feel it's out of their specialty, but it should be part of it, because it's a woman's health issue, like you said.
We'll talk about that later.
All right. So let's talk about what you're doing now for women to spread awareness, spread the message.
So after I had my heart attack, I realized that there was nothing on car bumpers or windows or anything acknowledging women's heart disease. You would see breast cancer, you would see autism, you would see so many things, but nothing. So I decided to jump on board and start promoting items from the American Heart Association, and I did a wonderful job in doing so, as they designed up a new bumper sticker, and I was very proud that a year and a half later, after my encouragement, that it was released on Christmas Eve. And there are many out there, and if you go across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, so many places, you will see me promoting things from the American Heart Association, which brings up conversations about heart disease in women.
Excellent.
The one thing that I'm extremely proud of is there was one day I was on Facebook on the American Heart Association's website, the Red Get Fit, and I met a woman that I connected with. And we met that September at our Heart Walk. And after we met, and it was funny because the only time we've seen each other was our pictures on Facebook. And as she was walking down the hill, she just came towards me and we hugged for a very long time. And it was that day that we created and set a goal, and we started Heart Sisters Heart Attack and Disease Support Group.
Wow. Wow.
And that January the 11th was our very first meeting, and I designed the website and the brochures and Christine Hartline, who is my co-founder. She kicked butt in getting brochures out to doctors' offices because at the time I was working in a different county. So we worked very, very hard. But the nice part about it is that Chrissy and I haven't just reached people here locally in Berks County. We have a Facebook page and we have reached people all over
the world. Yes.
And we put out our phone numbers for them to call us if they need us. But Chrissy and I worked very, very hard, and we are now 2.5 years in, and we're growing. And you can check us out. I hope you have our website that you can publish, www.heartsistersurvivors. And we're there for you, no matter where you live.
That's awesome.
And we also, because of the fact of Corona, we didn't let Corona stop us.
That's right.
We were the very first ones that we stepped up, and we had the very first virtual Heart Sisters support group meeting.
And actually, it is the need of the hour, because right now, how many people are stressed and depressed, and
yes,
you know, mental health can cause heart issues.
Yes.
And right now is really, things are changing too fast for people. So
right.
I think what you're doing is really, very important. It is actually right now required more than any other time.
Let's take some comments real quick because we're running out of time. So let's take some comments and then let Bev talk about the American Heart Association some more. I'm glad you're creating this awareness. My heart goes out to you, says Sanjit on YouTube.
Oh, Chrissy.
That's Chrissy. Hey, girl. You're doing great.
Well, you know what? We need to bring Christine and you together. It's Christine, right? Chrissy or Christine?
It doesn't matter. Chrissy and I would love to do this together.
We need to bring you together because this message needs to go out a lot more.
Yeah. Alicia says hello.
Hello, Alicia.
And Imagination says know your 5 numbers.
Yes.
Blood pressure, HDL cholesterol, total cholesterol, blood sugar, A1C, and your weight, your BMI.
Well, I just want to say, Stacy, the check is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
They should have the 3 of you on. We got some more hearts from Chrissy. And Alicia says self-care is the best care. Imagination, more hearts. And Beth says all heart disease and heart attack survivors have a special connection. Bev, you're the best 8-year survivor.
And you know what? I want to just say one thing. You know, you guys are not just survivors. You're actually the role models, and you're actually the hope of everybody who's had been lost or scared after this. And you're an example how to, after the fact, live a healthy life and be inspiration for others, and actually not let it break you or in any way make you less than before.
That's the reason why we started Heart Sisters, is because there's nothing out there to support anybody after the fact. Because when you have, after you have a heart attack or you've been diagnosed with some type of heart illness, when you walk out and those doors close behind you, you are completely lost. You don't know where to turn. They told you what your diagnosis is,
but they didn't give you support.
Nobody that understands how you feel.
I wanted to ask about that. Do you think that the American Heart Association kind of dropped the ball a little bit when it comes to women's health and having more materials for women to access?
No, actually all of the materials are there. All you have to do is go to the American Heart Association's website, and it's www.heart.org. And there is everything and anything that you can use. We actually use some of their materials at our heart support group.
Good.
So I just want to double check just to make sure we put it right. So it's www.heart.org.
Yes. And you can get a lot of information. They are a fabulous organization, and even with COVID going on, they are still supporting heart people all over the United States.
That's great.
They're fabulous. I love them all. I love them all.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have a laugh because I'm seeing a comment from Stacy, and she says, "Hey, I bring you great guests. Where's my 10% agent fee?"
As soon as we get paid from them, Stacy, you'll get your check. As soon as we start charging guests.
Right, that's correct.
So, our Heart Sisters Strong, we are survivors. I love that you have a support group to help women, especially having someone to talk to about this is so helpful. The group is fantastic. Yeah, because having the ability, Beth says, I can't even get out my comment. Like they say, we're all in this together. Great place to talk to a woman who knows exactly what you're going through. And again, because women are the ones who are normally giving support to others, it is vital for women to be able to come together and be vulnerable in a place and have that support for themselves as well, and not just feel like they have to now pull everything back together, pull themselves back together, pull the family back together, and just keep moving forward and not give yourself the space and time to properly heal and learn what's next and learn how to deal with this and not repeat it. Right, Bev?
Exactly. But I have so much more to do, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well,
yeah, and you'll be around for a long
just the
time.
beginning. This is just the beginning, and I plan to see you. As I said, I'm a vampire, 1473 years. I plan to see you next 700 years with me.
You got it.
Well, this is hard to shut down, but we have to say adieu for tonight. But we know that you'll be back. We know that you'll be back sharing this message again. Hopefully you'll come back on Dreamaniac soon and continue the calling out and sharing and letting people know what's happening. And we love having you here, Bev.
Thank you so much. This has been great. And everybody, I just want to say, please don't ignore any signs, because heart attacks, heart disease comes in so many different ways, and it can be so totally different from what I experienced. Pay attention and get attention.
Pay attention and get attention. One last thing I do want to ask, because you say all the symptoms are different, but do the symptoms all kind of relate to around the chest area, neck, arms, teeth, gums, jaw, all this? Yeah, so you can have pain in your jaw, you can have pain in your back, pain in your shoulder blades, pain in your chest. Just give like a kind of all around, but it's usually from the waist up, any kind of those discomforts that is nagging.
It can actually be in the opposite side of your body than your heart. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the side of your heart. Mm-hmm. So you have to pay attention to everything that doesn't feel right. Some people just have a feeling of doom, and a feeling of doom is usually a sign too.
Wow. I guess the thing that people have to look at is, if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. Just go and get checked.
Go check it out. Find a doctor.
Thank you so much, Bev. Please stay in the green room. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second, all right?
I wore red for you, by the way.
You what?
I wore red for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And here you are in orange.
It's actually a little reddish. It looks orange in this light, though.
Okay. Mine looks a little pinky in this light.
My glasses are red.
I actually want to quickly just put this up, because Beth says also remember pain in back, things like that. Just don't ignore any sign. Any sign you see which is not usual and you feel like it's not great, just go and get checked. Just get checked for everything.
Right.
So we'll see you in a second, Bev, in the green room. So wow, that was so much information, and I think that's what it is.
Questions I couldn't even get to.
Yeah, and we need more time with Bev. And I think one thing I would say, it's not just women. Everybody should just support each other, and just, if you see signs, if you see something that's not normal and your body's telling you something is wrong, do something about it.
Well, pretty much you have to start to know your body. Know yourself, know your body, understand what, because sometimes you do have normal aches and pains that you know, But if it is something that is unusual, just a little more than normal, go check it out.
Right.
Check it
Right.
out.
Well, speaking of which, I want to just quickly do a tiny plug. So you do have a book about looking younger. Can you tell me a little bit about your book, just very quickly?
Age with Audacious Confidence. Sure. So Bev talked about, eating healthy and doing all the right things for herself and her body. So Age with Audacious Confidence is just 21 plus tips of how to look great and feel great and take care of yourself. So
Will that make me 21 again?
well, I don't know. I
I'm just kidding.
I try to be 21 again.
Well, you look 25, so it's perfect. It's working.
At 51.
No, that's a lie. You know it's under investigation.
Keep the train going.
Your youngest assistant Cassie is gonna reveal the secret one day.
One day she will. My old
no, younger sister.
Oldest daughter. Okay, so we gotta go. So anyway, guys, we have next week we have another amazing guest coming to you, and that would be the end of our season for next week. So until then, stay safe. Please wear your mask, please, and take care of yourself. Mwah. Love you guys.
And as we always say at Dreamaniac, dream big and make it happen.